What's up, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be playing with the Nomad Cosmetics Air Travel Palettes. I have all 4 of them in this cute little bag, and I'm excited to create a look with each one. But before we do that, I'm going to give you the lowdown on the entire collection, give you some prices, some swatches, then we'll jump into the looks, and at the end of the video, we will come back together and I'll give you my first initial impression thoughts on the formula, the color stories, and the collection as a whole. Now, per usual, I will have all of the products in this collection as well as everything else that is on my face linked and listed down the description box. So if you're ever curious about anything, always check down there. I squeeze as much information as I possibly can into that tiny little box. I will also timestamp out everything in this video so you can jump around, watch what you want to watch if you're not here for the whole thing. My feelings won't be hurt. You do you. Now let's go ahead and jump into the lowdown on this collection. So this collection does include 4 different eyeshadow palettes. Each of them have 6 shades on the inside. They are small, they are slim, perfect for travel, and these are all going to be neutral eyeshadow palettes. So you're going to have your true neutrals, your cool neutrals, your warm neutrals, and your green tone neutrals. Each of these palettes do retail for $22 a piece, or you can get a bundle of all 4 with this cute little bag included for $88. But let's go ahead and do some close-ups of these, show you some swatches, and then we can jump into the looks with each of these palettes. So up first is the original Nomad Air Travel palette. This one did launch last year, and here you're going to get more true neutrals. So you're going to have 3 different mattes and 3 different shimmers. We have the Oslo Gardermoen eyeshadow palette. This is going to be your cool tone neutrals. In this palette, you're going to get 4 matte shades and 2 shimmers. We have the Dhabi Zayed travel palette. This is going to be your warm tone neutrals in here. Again, we have 4 mattes and 2 shimmers. And last but not least, we have the Canadian Rockies palette. This is going to be your green neutrals. Again, we have 4 mattes and 2 shimmers in this one as well. Up first, we're going to play with the original Air Travel palette. This is going to be your most true neutrals. So I'm going to go ahead and just start creating a look with all 6 of these shades. I'm going to start out with this one right here, which is called Let's Take Off. So with a Morphe M504, I'm just going to pick up that shade and start to fluff this into my crease, building up some depth and definition into the crease of my eye. With a Singe Beauty EO3 brush, I'm going to go into this mid-tone brown here called Up, Up, and Away, and I'm just going to start fluffing this into the outer corner, bringing it about halfway over and blending it up into that first shade. I'm going to take that same shade, same brush, and I'm going to start to bring this down onto the lower lash line. I am going to bring that all the way over and just kind of fluff it down there. I'm going to pick up the shade Fly the Skies with a Singe EO2 brush, and I'm just going to build up a little bit more depth into this outer corner, trying to utilize all of these shades and just give a nice smoky everyday look. So I'm just going back with that first shade and that same brush, and I'm just kind of going along the edges, blending everything together to make sure that we have a nice blended and cohesive look. Okay, so my eye is already primed with my NYX glitter primer. Let's go ahead and pop into some shimmer. So first I want to go in with this one right here. This one is called Find Your Wings, and I'm just going to pick that one up with my finger, and I'm going to pop this all over my lid, and then I'm going to use the other 2 shades in here to kind of blend them out and give them a nice gradient. So next I'm going to go in with the shade called See the World. I'm just going to pick that one up, and I'm going to put it right out here where that shimmer and that matte meet, just to give a nice soft gradient. And lastly, with my pinky, I'm going to go into Follow the Sun, and I'm going to pop this right here on my inner corner, blending it into the rest of those shades. Alright, so this is going to complete our first look with our first palette. Very quick, very simple. That's the whole idea between all of these, and I love it. I really like the way that it turned out. I'm really enjoying the mattes in this palette. I like the shimmers as well. They're not anything shifty. They're not any like multi-chrome, duochrome, or anything like that. They are just good metallic shimmer shades on the lid. But to finish off this look, I did go ahead and tightline both my lid and my waterline with my Victoria Beckham Satin Kajal liner, and then I went in with my YSL Lash Clash Matte mascara in the shade brown. But let's go ahead and jump into our next palette. So I want to go in with this one. This is the Abu Dhabi one. This one has all of our warm shades in it. So for this look, I'm going to go ahead and start with this shade right here. This one is called Souks and Bazaars, and for that I'm going to go ahead and pick it up with that same Morphe M504 brush. I just cleaned it off a little bit, and I'm going to start fluffing this into my crease as a transition, and I am going to bring this over into my inner corner, maybe giving a little bit of brightness. So there's the first shade down. It does blend in with my skin tone, but it went down really nicely. It wasn't chalky. It was very creamy and very smooth. But let's continue on building up some more depth. So next I'm going to go in with this shade right here, which is called Rising Dunes. I'm going to fluff that into my crease, building up a little bit more depth. And for that, I'm going to go in with a Game Beauty E06 brush. So we're just going to pick up this shade. This one is a little bit more on the pinky side, and start to build up that depth in the crease. Next, with the same brush, I just wiped it off. I'm going to go into this shade right here called Endless Sands, and I'm going to build up a little bit more depth right here into the outer corner and just blend it into my crease. I'm going to go ahead and leave the lid right where it is. We don't really have a good deepening up shade in here. We do have two mid-tone shades, so what I'm going to do is leave that where it is, and I'm going to go in with this shade right here, which is called Spice Market. I'm going to pick that up with a Bling Brushes E25, and I'm just going to fluff that onto my lower lash line and have this kind of have its own little moment down here. All right, let's go ahead and pop these two shimmers on the lid. So I'm going to start with this one right here. This one is called Desert Oasis. I'm going to put that one on the outer half of my lid, and then on the inner half of my lid, avoiding my inner corner, I am going to go in with Golden Hour. So I'm going to start by picking up Desert Oasis on my finger. This is what that looks like. An absolutely beautiful copper shade, and I'm just going to pop this one out here. This is the shade Golden Hour. I'm going to pop this on the inner portion of my lid, blending it into that first shade. And there we have the completed look with the Abu Dhabi palette. I do really like the way this one turned out. Now you could absolutely bring in something from another palette, even from one of these for the inner corner, deepen up the outer corner a little bit, things like that. But I really wanted to just stick to the palettes to show you what you can do with them individually. But to finish off this look, I did go in with my same YSL mascara that I used over here. And then to tightline my waterline and my upper lid, I did go ahead and go in with the Charlotte Tilbury Walk of No Shame liner to kind of tie everything together. But we still have two more palettes to play with, so I'm going to go ahead and remove both of these looks, and then we'll jump into the next palette. Okay, let's play with some cool tones. So this is the Oslo Gardermoen palette. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm going to go ahead and start with this shade right here, which is called Minimal. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that up with a Game Beauty E06 brush, and I'm going to start to fluff this into my crease, again building up some depth and a little bit of shape into my eye. So next I'm going to take that same brush, I just wiped it off, and I'm going to go into this shade right here, which is called Practical, and I'm going to start to build up this outer corner a little bit and build up a little bit more of that crease. I'm not going to bring it quite all the way over, but I am going to take it a little bit more than just the outer corner. With a Sigma Beauty E24 brush, I'm going to go into this shade up here called Natural, and I'm just going to fluff this along my lower lash line. I'm going to take a Morphe M506 brush. I'm going to go into this shade Functional right here, and I'm going to build up some of that depth onto my outer corner, and I'm going to take this onto the outer corner of my lower lash line as well. All right, y'all, it's shimmer time. I've already primed my eye. We're gonna start out with this one up here, which is called Nordic Cool. So I'm just gonna pick this up on my finger, and I'm gonna pop this all over my lid, avoiding the inner corner, because we're gonna go in with that other shade over there. So with my pinky, I'm gonna pick up this other shimmer shade called Democratic Design, and I'm just gonna pop this one onto the inner portion of my lid and bring it into my inner corner. So this is going to complete our very cool tone look with the OSL Travel palette. I really like the way this turned out, and I love that this palette has more than just gray tones in it. We do have some cool tone browns as well, so you can get a little bit more versatility with this palette. But to finish off this look, I did go in with my Glam Light Calligrapher liner to line my lid. In my waterline, I threw in a Martine Cosmetics liner in the shade Anthracite, and for mascara, I just went in with the Queen Musia 2053 mascara to finish off the look. But we have one more palette to play with, so let's go ahead and jump into that one. This one is the Canadian Rockies palette. This one is our green palette. I love that they look as green as a neutral because I do as well, but this one is interesting because we have cool tones and warm tones in here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do more of like a warm tone look on the lid and then maybe some cool tones down on the lower waterline. So yeah, let's go ahead and start with this shade right here. This one is called Brave the Bears. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick that shade up with a Blinged Brushes E41, and I'm just gonna start to pop this into my lid or into my crease, kind of keeping it a little bit heavier on the outer corner and build up that depth. All right, so next I'm gonna take that same brush and I'm just gonna go into this shade over here called Take a Hike, and I'm gonna build up this outer corner just a little bit more to give a little bit more depth and drama. I did pick a bigger brush because I want to take up more space and kind of fluff this out. All right, let's go ahead and pop onto the lower lash line. So I'm gonna start with this shade right here. It is called Find Your Peak, and I'm gonna pick that up with a Sigma E57 brush, and I'm just gonna kind of very whimsically line my lower lash line. I'm not gonna keep it super tight, but I'm not gonna fluff it out either, because I am gonna go back in with that lighter shade called Moose Crossing and kind of fluff it out a little bit. So with a Sigma Beauty E42 brush, I'm going to go into this shade called Moose Crossing, and I'm just going to kind of fluff out that lower lash line, giving it a nice gradient and softening that edge. I'm also going to take that shade into my inner corner right here, just because we don't really have a light shimmer shade in this palette, and I want my inner corner to have some lightness, brightness, and pop just a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and pop some shimmer on this lid. My eye is primed and ready to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with this shade right here, which is called River Rafting. I'm just gonna pick this one up on my finger and I'm gonna pop it all over my lid, but I'm going to kind of avoid the outer portion of it. Next, I'm gonna pick up the shade Mountain Calling, and I'm just gonna pop this one right here where that kind of more greener outer corner is, and then bring it up to that first shimmer shade, that teal shade. And there we have our look with the Canadian Rockies palette. I like the way this one turned out as well. I like the play with the cool tone greens and the warm tone greens. They did really go together very nicely when all was said and done. But to finish off this look, I went ahead and went in with my same Glam Light Calligrapher liner and Queen Musia mascara that I used over here on this lid. And then for my lower waterline, I just went in with a NYX Epic Wear liner in the shade Turquoise Storm. But let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit and we'll chat about this collection. All right, y'all, so there we have it. 4 different looks using all of the Nomad travel palettes. I had a lot of fun playing with these. I like all the looks that I created, and I think these are a cute little addition to the Nomad line. Now, I do know that these are not going to be for everybody. If you have a larger collection, or maybe you just love colorful makeup, these aren't gonna be for you. You're already gonna have these shades in your collection, and these are all very neutral, so you can probably skip out on them. But if you're somebody who loves a good neutral eyeshadow, maybe you wanna dip your toe into indie makeup without going full on color, or maybe you're like me and when you travel you like to have eyeshadow palettes that are like no-brainer looks. You don't really have to think about it a lot. You can just kind of dig in, one and done, maybe a couple shades and go. These are going to be perfect for that. As far as the formula in these go, the matte formula is exactly what I expect from Nomad. They are creamy, they are buildable, they are blendable. I didn't get any skipping, any patching. I didn't have any fallout. I did get a little bit of kick up in the pan with some of the shades. Not all of them, but some of them I did. It doesn't bother me, but I do want to relay that to you. As far as the shimmer formula goes, it is your standard metallic shimmer formula. You're not going to get multi-chromes, duochromes, holochromes, anything shifty like like that. You're just gonna get your basic run-of-the-mill shimmers. But I will say that the shimmers in the Canadian Rockies palette, these were a little harder pressed than the ones in the other palettes. The shimmers in the other palettes were very creamy. They were kind of like very soft in the pan. These were a little bit harder. They weren't quite as creamy. I didn't have any issues picking them up or putting them on my lid, but I just wanted to let you know that in case you decide to pick these up. As far as the color stories go, I think there's a lot of uniqueness in here for cute little 6-pan palettes. First of all, this one, I love that we have cool tones and warm tones in here, so you can definitely get a couple of different looks. You can, you know, do either cool tones, warm tones, or you can kind of mix them all together like I did. The Abu Dhabi one, which is going to be our warm tone, the only thing that I feel like is missing from this is a deepening up shade. I feel like we really could have benefited from like a really deep brown or something like that. Maybe taken out one of these mid-tones. That's just my personal preference. I feel like it really would have hit the mark a little bit more. So you can deepen up the outer corner, maybe even use it as a liner or something like that. Which one do we want to talk about? The OSL, the Oslo Gardermoen palette. It's a cool tone palette. I like that we have both browns and grays in here. So again, we have a little bit more of that versatility in here. The shimmers in here are beautiful. This one is very kind of like iridescent when you put it on the eye, but I do like this one. I think it's beautiful. I don't know if this one's going to appeal to as many people, just because I feel like when people reach for cool tones, they want more of like cool tone browns, and this isn't quite giving that as much. But if you are a cool tone lover, this is a beautiful palette. And of course, we have the original Nomad Air Travel palette. I still think this one's going to be my favorite. I think it's going to appeal to more people across the board, especially for travel. This is just going to go with everything, no matter what you're wearing. You can do one and dones. You can do a full cohesive look with all of them. You can throw one of these on the lid. You can even use this as a highlighter, or this one, depending on your skin tone. So overall, I really like these. I think they're cute. I'm excited to have them in my collection. I'm excited to play with them, but that is going to complete this video. I want to hear from y'all. I want to hear all your thoughts down below. Did you pick up any of these? Which look was your favorite? Did you skip out on these? Of course, let's have that conversation, light up that comment section. And as usual, I want to thank you all so much for spending your time with me and watching my video. It truly does mean so much to me. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up before you leave. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that notification bell so that you can be notified of all my future posts here on my channel. I do post quite a few videos every single week, and I wouldn't want you to miss one. But until my next video, have a good one. Bye.